at Teesside Autodrome. Okay, so we're looking forward towards the next heat race now, and in this one, well, there's going to be some quite interesting drivers up here. This is going to be a very, very fast and tough race. We've got Slawek Piskorz, teammate to Rob Duma, who we saw earlier on. We've got Jessica Alexander, the Scottish lady who drove down from Scotland on Friday night. She only got the call on Friday to stand in for somebody. It was James Martin, who she's standing in for. Unfortunately, his dog had to have some surgery, so James Martin not taking part. Jessica Alexander standing in for him, and a really sterling performance by her. She's really shown well, having never seen the track before yesterday morning, and that is saying something at this international level. Jake Campbell-Mills, a former driver in the World Championships, Super 1 champion in Britain. His best finish was back in 2016 when he was 13th overall in the British Rental Car Championship. Mark-Sisman is in this. Jonny Elliott, of course, former race winner in BRKC and doing very well in this tournament too. Jonny Elliott, one of the main British hopes. Mariusz Nowicki, oh, what's he done? He's been really good. He's the second in the championship in Poland, and he's coming over and some great performances yesterday from him. Marcel Hollink, brother of the other Hollink, and Joris Sturm, Robin Kassam, and Sean Brierley. Again, one of the British hopes. Sean Brierley is in this. Sean Brierley, true international racer all over the world, multi-continental as well, not just out in Europe, also in the USA, competing regularly in international events. He also won he was part of the winning Nations Cup team in 2017 in the Kart World Championship, the Nations Cup endurance event. Sean Brierley was part of that winning team, and we're going to see him out here in this next race. So, in the as the karts are just waiting to be sent out, I think that is Mariusz Nowicki that we're looking at up ahead. It may not be, but I've got a feeling it is Nowicki there we're seeing on the screen. But let's have a look down the lineup. Yeah, we got importantly, Jonny Elliott is right on the tail there of the lineup, and in front of him I think it might be Sean Brierley. So the real quick laps are probably going to come at the tail here.
Got lined up. That's the last grid. Here's the new one. I'm a bit pro Elliott in this race. I know you don't really like the lads, but
no, I'm fine with him. He's a personal friend of mine. I don't know why you keep saying that, but no, we're
trying to create beef.
Oh right, okay, yeah. Yeah, he's got to be one of the favourites, Jonny Elliott. Equally, Sean Brierley, yeah. Jake Campbell-Mills, Jessica Alexander just keeps getting better in every race, having not seen the track. Joris Sturm's in this. We've seen some probably better showings than ever. Joris Sturm. Last year he was 40th overall in the championship. This year he's going to be better than that, I think, because we've seen him top 3.
Who's your least favourite out of this lot?
I don't really have a least favourite, but if I was not betting a house on it,
I see.
I would probably not put the house maybe on Mark-Sisman. But that doesn't mean he's bad. It's purely because I'd probably more put the house on Jonny Elliott.
Is it because he's from Romford?
I'm sure perfectly fine being an Essex boy, but
well, that's not the good bit of Essex. I'm from the nice bit of Essex,
well,
the north bit with trees. Romford, right rough.
Well, it's a bit closer to London than you, isn't it? You know, he's probably a bit more streetwise than you, though.
Oh yeah, in a scrap,
yeah,
you'd
absolutely.
back him.
I'd back him all day long. Yeah. Anyhow, Sean Brierley is someone who I would certainly back in a kart fight.
Ooh,
and Sean Brierley, he's actually going to be one of the last out to qualify. Jonny Elliott is right on the tail of that, so he's going to be the last time that we see. In front of him is Sean Brierley, and then Slawek Piskorz is ahead of him. So we are going to see some quick times at the end of this group. Jessica Alexander, I think, is nearer to the front, sort of about 4 karts back. Joris Sturm, he's going to be quick. I think that's him 3rd in the lineup. So, well, we'll see how that all shapes out. Hollink there is bang in the middle. So, well, we'll just have to wait and see what happens when they're all getting underway. Actually, it might be Jake Campbell-Mills who's 3rd back in the lineup, but I'll just double check. Just looking at helmets, trying to figure out who's set where. I think we're waiting for somebody, so that might be what the question mark is.
Well, who's late?
Who's the just waiting for somebody. There's some talking going on with the organisers from the side. There's Brad Philpott down there. Arnaud Tinet, everybody's favourite Frenchman, is down there. So I think they're actually waiting on. And Marshall is stood by an empty cart. so there may well be.
I'll have a go.
Waiting.
I fancy it.
Well, Spanners, you said you were something like 1.2 off the pace.
Yeah, but I can get out of the way fairly decently. Huh? 1.2 days off the pace, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you're 1.2 days out of the pace, but you'll get in the way in the twisty bits where you can't get out of the way.
Well, that's their problem. It won't affect my race.
Yeah, well, that's why you're not in it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. One day I dream of such
Okay,
things.
well, they're going to release them, and it looks like somebody's not going to be taking part. Obviously, we'll get a better feel for that when the times start to come in. But at the moment,
I mean, it is early.
It's going to be a 9-cart
They could
race.
just still be in the hotel. Were the drivers out on the lash last night after they finished?
I think from what I saw on Facebook, Adam Davis and Steve Gray were,
of course
shall we say, caught celebrating.
I am stunned and shocked and not shocked.
You know, we are. The venue is in the on the edge of Milton Keynes, and I think Steve Gray and Adam Davis may have been.
They earned it.
Well, I think they may have been partaking of the falling over water. So we'll see what whether that affects their performances today. I mean, that was they'll have a job topping what they did yesterday. In fairness,
they certainly will.
So, but I think they're doing themselves down. They are. So even if they don't necessarily consider themselves, they are pretty much holding their own at international level.
Yeah, I think they've stepped up, and that whole we've just come down. Look how shiny everything is down here.
They're just playing
now.
it down, aren't they? It's starting to wear a bit thin, to be fair, and they're well on their way to being called out on all that kind of. We're just here for the beer sort of thing. Right, so Kassam is fast. Joris Sturm has gone quicker on the outlap. This outlap doesn't really count for anything, but it does sometimes give a bit of an idea who's doing what. Hollink's now fast. Alexander went faster. Hollink has gone quicker again. But this is the outlet. Doesn't really count anything. It does sometimes show some things up. Slawek Piskorz, top of the table there. But now we're starting to get the times coming in. So across the line and setting the first one, it is in fact Sisman who puts himself third. Topping the list is Robin Kassam, and then it's Joris Sturm. Joris Sturm is now fastest. Joris Sturm showing the quickest lap. Jessica Alexander's gone second. Hollink's overtaken all of them. Marcel Hollink. Nowicki is now fastest. Mariusz Nowicki. Slawek Piskorz. Sean Brierley's gone quick. So what's Jonny Elliott going to do? Oh, Jonny Elliott to 7th.
That's not good.
No, he's going to be a bit disappointed with that. But Sean Brierley topping the table there. Mariusz Nowicki into 2nd, and Marcel Hollink in 3rd. Now, Jonny Elliott's going to have seen those times. There's Hollink who's looking over his shoulder, the grey and white helmet up there.
Oh, nice helmet from Piskorz.
A great show that. Well, you can almost see his own view from the.
Is that
GoPro.
a Senna helmet kind of underneath his colours? Is that what he's going for?
It's a sort of, yeah, sort of. There's Jonny
Can
Elliott.
We get a close up on Piskorz's helmet
again. Is shaking his head as they move into position. There's Piskorz going up through to 5th place. And there's Jonny Elliott moving down for 7th. Jessica Alexander's going to be between them. Yes, she is. So she's looking over her shoulder there, waving to Jonny Elliott.
I like this shot of the
drivers.
A deal
already near the tail there.
Like
Alexander, and there's Slawek Piskorz.
Yeah, look, he's got Senna at the back.
Yeah, at the very back there. So Slawek Piskorz, teammate Rob Dumas, and Slawek Piskorz, also a former Speedway rider.
Really?
And,
there's another nutter.
A Polish one as well. So if you're a Polish Speedway rider, Speedway's very big over there. So if you end up racing for your city in Speedway, you're going to have to be either, well, very good, very crazy, or both.
What can Elliott do from 7th?
We've already ascertained that Speedway bikes don't have brakes. Now, as they come through, it's Sean Brierley who's going to take the start. It's a good start. Sean Brierley's got exactly the sort of lead he needs. It's also the biggest lead he could have possibly hoped for while a start is being given as clean. So Sean Brierley's done everything he needs. Now, it's important for his championship chances that he checks out now. He just needs to clear off. An argument with any one of those drivers behind is not something he needs. We're going to keep an eye on Jonny Elliott, though. Yep. There seems to be some sort of deal with Jessica or Alexander about moving towards the front. And how long Jonny Elliott...
Big move
Alexander onto Piskorz. She bundles through there.
Great
Quite
move.
Aggressive, but I think it's going to be
given
as clean.
Completely fine.
Very aggressive, but given as clean. And Piskorz is going to be trying to come back.
Piskorz not happy,
now,
but
can Jonny Elliott go with her? That's the question. If a deal was being made, it will require Elliott to go
Piskorz
through.
makes a lunge back past Alexander into that turn 3. He wasn't happy about the move. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but equally a clean move into turn 3 as well.
And the big loser out in that, because it caused a kerfuffle behind, is Jonny Elliott. And Jonny Elliott has dropped now behind Robin Kassam, I believe. So Jonny Elliott has got an awful lot of work to do to get on terms with the leader, Sean Brierley.
Piskorz now building a gap from Alexander as well. So it was key, really, if there's...
Elliott's in. Yeah, Jonny Elliott's had enough of this. He knows he's fast, and that is how he's going to get to the front. It's there's no point just losing time battling past. He's jumping up and down. It's more mental than anything else. But whatever works, works.
I don't think it does anything. I'm sticking to that.
Oh, it probably doesn't. But he's in a position where he's not willing to take the risk.
The only one thing like that that definitely works is the Barsh standing up, bum all the way off the seat thing. That is definitely something that makes a difference.
Matt Barsh is borderline out of the kart, isn't he? I mean, you know, he's letting the kart accelerate. Well, he's not in it at all. Meantime, Sean Brierley continues to lead. Mariusz Nowicki is in second, 1.2 behind. Then it's Hollink, Sturm, Piskorz, Jessica Alexander, Robin Kassam, John Mark-Sisman and Jonny Elliott. So we can assume there that Jake Campbell-Mills is the non-starter. So Jake Campbell-Mills, part of the Suffolk and Slow team, was a former World Championship driver, is not taking the start in this race. That will obviously put him completely out of the points for the semi-final. So practically over his championship is.
Sturm hanging on to the hanging on to the back of that sort of leading three, if you like, second, third, and fourth. But Brierley's checked out a little.
Absolutely, Sean Brierley's doing what he needs to win this. Clearly on his mind is building up enough of a gap. Now, Sean Brierley can be a devastatingly quick driver on his day, and he often is on his day. This looks like being it, because Mariusz Nowicki has been a potential winner, so has Hollink, so has Sturm. Piskorz has won the Brkc race before, and Jonny Elliott, sorry, not Jonny Elliott, Sean Brierley is pulling out an increasingly bigger gap on them as each lap passes. They're 5 laps in, 1.8 seconds is the gap.
Battle to look out for nearer the back is Kassam on the back of Alexander, pressuring very much onto the back of that car, so there could be a move coming up soon. And then we've also got Kassam on his own at the back, so you may have been right there about the Romford lad.
Well, we'll see what happens. Kassam is clearly pressuring Jessica Alexander, who's clearly going to be after Slawek Piskorz. A gap has opened between the Polish driver Piskorz and Jessica Alexander. They're on screen now, and Jessica Alexander is coming under massive pressure from Robin Kassam. This is the battle for 6th place, and meantime Sean Brierley's opened up 2-second gap. He's on the far side of the course in the new section is Sean Brierley, and they've just gone out of view there, and that behind is Nowicki, Hollink and Joris Sturm. So Nowicki, the Polish driver, from the 2 Dutch drivers behind, Marcel Hollink and Joris Sturm, Dutch-based drivers, as they come down the back straight. So there's Nowicki turning in. Now Mariusz Nowicki, he was second in the Polish Championships last year. He's second in this race in the British Championship this year. He's showing very well. I've seen him in the Brkc before, but he's already been the front runner in every race he's been in. He's scoring great points and surely got to be a potential for a semi-final position there, Spanish. Doing a great job.
Elliott at the back, very animated in the car. What sort of lap times is he turning in?
Well,
he made a wise choice.
He's done his best is 33.6 and his current is 33.9. That is comparable with it's not comparable with Sean Brierley, but it is comparable with those behind him. So Nowicki, Hollink, Sturm, that is the kind of lap time they're doing. It's comparable. What Jonny Elliott needs to do is make up a gap, make up some time to them, because when he did pit, he was something like about 7 or 8, 7 seconds or so behind them.
It looks like Elliott is net keeping up with the leaders, actually, but Alexander and Kassam, for example, are falling back. So they could soon be in the clutches of Elliott, and Elliott could put himself net 6th, I think, at the moment, behind Piskorz.
Absolutely, and Jessica Alexander off screen has sort of opened up a bit of a gap, I'll call it a breathing space, over Robin Kassam. That means she doesn't have to be defensive, she can go back in towards attacking Slawek Piskorz.
Looking at the way
the lap times show that as well. She's picked up the pace a little bit without having to defend. Sorry, Spanish.
No, just looking at the way that gap jumped out from Alexander and Kassam, there may have been some kind of contact, as it looked to jump a second within the space of a lap, and suddenly that gap has appeared.
Yeah, Jessica Alexander is running nearly half a second quicker generally than Kassam, so she obviously sort of just got the bit between her teeth. She's actually trying to close in on Piskorz, but doing practically the same lap times. Sean Brierley continues to be the fastest. He has set the fastest time in this race, but that's the battle for second place that we're looking at on screen. Mariusz Nowicki from Marcel Hollink and Joris Sturm. Slawek Piskorz, it has to be said, is closing on. In fact, he's now onto the back of Joris Sturm. So this second place battle has become a four-way fight. So as they come down the backstretch, there is Mariusz Nowicki, the Polish second in the championship over there in Poland. Behind him is Marcel Hollink. There's Joris Sturm, and there is Slawek Piskorz. So what a battle this is turning out to be.
So Piskorz felt hard done by, I think, in the early exchanges. Now he's got the momentum coming up to the back of this pack. He's probably not going to be in the mood to just sit on the back of this pack. He's either going to make a move, go for it, or quit.
Yeah, and this is going to get very tight indeed, because the way it shapes up, we've got, yes, Sean Brierley in the lead, but we're looking at Mariusz Nowicki there in second. There's third Hollink, there's Sturm fourth. Piskorz has gone on the back of him, but closing in on all of them is Jessica Alexander, and she's bringing Robin Kassam with her. So this could very soon end up being an almighty, almost entire race fight over second place. So there's Hollink across the line. Here comes, sorry, no, it's Nowicki. There's Sean Brierley, the leader. So let's have a look here. That's Nowicki from Hollink and Sturm and Piskorz, and then there's a little bit of a gap, and then it's Jessica Alexander with Robin Kassam. So it's all starting to bunch up a bit behind Nowicki, despite the epic times Nowicki is setting.
Sisman comes in, a very neat stop, not taking any risks at all, but made sure he kept it clean.
And that is to the benefit of Jonny Elliott. Jonny Elliott moves up a place to 8th. And of course he's got Robin Kassam ahead of him. Now everybody in front of Jonny Elliott has to pit. The gap from the leader to Jonny Elliott is 20 seconds exactly right now. So all of those in front could pit and would come out in front of Jonny Elliott. But Elliott is moving quickly, and Elliott is in a position now. He's setting his own personal best, and the only person faster than Jonny Elliott right now is actually on track at the moment, the leader, Sean Brierley. So Jonny Elliott is doing what he needs to leapfrog people. It's Marcel Hollink into the pits from third.
Well, I wondered who was going to make that move first, because it did look like Nowicki was holding up everyone, not like nose to tail, but certainly he was letting everybody catch up close to him. So I think this is a nice little gamble there by Hollink.
10.5 second pit stop there by Marcel Hollink. He did exactly the right thing. He's come out in front of Jonny Elliott, so and it's quite a good lead over Jonny Elliott, about 6.5 seconds. But Marcel Hollink quite inspired there. Now the question is, without Hollink in the way, can Sturm bridge the gap to Mariusz Nowicki? He's got Piskorz coming with him, no pit stops or anything like that. The battle there has got a bit spread out, but they are matching each other for times, and I'm talking Nowicki in second place, right down to Kassam, who is in 6th.
Yeah, I think Alexander and Kassam have dropped out just a little bit visually. So you've got your fancy time comparisons, but I think Piskorz is definitely looking to do something, and I can't see him sitting there forever. In fact, he's pointing. Yeah, there we go. Piskorz has come in for the pits. Let's see, he stops very short. He's going to take a great run up to that. That's the first one, cleanly done, just about perfect. Can he do the same on the second? I think so. I think he might have had to do a half lift, but what he's done is he's got himself out of Sturm's exhaust.
Marvellous effort there, bang on 10 seconds by Slawek Piskorz. Wow. Incredible pit stop, and you could see there what he was doing. They have to stop within a certain area, and you can see the lights on red and on green. You can see the reflection. Some people are stopping fairly late in that area, and that's when you see them punching the throttle and feathering the throttle, and maybe even having a break, waiting for that green. Slawek Piskorz, though, he stopped quite early, relatively speaking, and that allowed him. He was well on the power, but when you start doing things like that, my goodness, you better judge it right, because if you do jump it, you're going to jump it on practically full power. There's Jonny Elliott coming to put another lap in. Now, Jonny Elliott has been, well, his idea of stopping and leapfrogging people, it's not worked from a Hollink point of view, it's not worked from a Piskorz point of view, but if Jonny Elliott can keep the pressure on and keep those lap times coming, it may work with the later stoppers. I think if you're going to beat Jonny Elliott, an early stop counts, but if you're going to beat Sean Brierley or Nowicki, a later stop's going to count.
Sisman at the moment getting caught up in that battle, doing well to get out of the way actually on turn 3. That's not an easy place to let people past, and now he's in the twisty section, and this has fallen into the hands of Alexander, because there's not a lot that Sisman can do to get out of the way, and he's ended up holding up Kassam quite a lot there.
And Jonny Elliott near the tail of the field, but that was the fastest lap of everybody on this lap. So Jonny Elliott is doing everything he can Obviously, he's listed down in 8th place, but he has made a pit stop, and he is fractionally closing in on those up ahead. If they want to beat Johnny, an early pit stop, as I say, is going to count. If they want to beat each other, the later stop. So it's all a question of where you think Jonny Elliott's going to end up. Now, Nowicki is up at the front. He's got almost a second lead over Joris Sturm that we're looking at here. Joris Sturm from Holland. He's actually from whereabouts in Holland? Middelburg is Joris Sturm. Showing very well at the moment, listed in 3rd place. He's 5 seconds behind the leader Brierley, who with 8 minutes to go has got 20 laps into the books.
So Sturm is still keeping touch with Nowicki. They've both got to look out for Piskorz coming out of pit, so that's the key gap for them, isn't it? Storm back to Piskorz, and at the moment it's just on that kind of 11 seconds gap, isn't it? Which is right about where a good pit stop is the difference between getting out in front or staying there.
Yeah, it's the kind of pit stop that he's going to be worried about it, but he'll probably make it.
Yes, it's 11 seconds. Can't afford to make a mistake, but he will get out in front. Yeah.
So right, continuing around those Joris Sturm, he's not making a stop yet. There's going to be quite a few people in on these later stages, Spanners, and it's going to get a bit busy in the pit lane from a front runner's point of view, surely. There's 8 minutes to go.
8 minutes is ages, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's potentially what, in real terms from a pit stop point of view, they've got maybe 10 laps possibly.
So actually, Brierley, you'd think that this is his to lose, absolutely for sure, but looking at the pit stops, he doesn't want to get mixed up with Alexander and Kassam. He wants to come out in clean air, so he's probably looking, he can probably see them just behind. Oh, here we go, who's in? Number 19, Sturm.
Yeah, Joris Sturm is making his pit stop now. Where do we think he's going to come out? It's going to be around about Marcel Hollink.
This is going to be really tight with
Hollink.
Piskorz.
Hollink has actually passed him, and Piskorz who's alongside. Piskorz is going to go for the outside move down to the hairpin, but Sturm has got it covered. So Joris Sturm, he's dropped a place to Marcel Hollink, so he's lost out in that, but he importantly stays ahead of Slawek Piskorz, the Polish speedway rider.
Well, this is interesting because Kassam is ahead of them on track. He does not have to let them past. Have I got that right, or have I got mixed up with my
You
drivers?
are right. Kassam is ahead of them on track. He's 5 seconds ahead of them, so it's a bit of a gap. But Kassam is actually going to be fighting for position. It's just he hasn't pitted. So we're looking at Sturm, and there is Slawek Piskorz right behind him. So Slawek Piskorz is going to be getting pretty aggressive. The Polish driver, he's a really solid kart racer, is Slawek Piskorz.
Is he the guy that does all the photos as well?
He is one of the photographers, yeah, he gets some great pictures.
Yeah.
He was 35th in the championship last year, but that kind of belies the effort he makes. He's very strong technically and strategically. He knows when to fight and when to just put the laps in. He's capable of responding with fast laps, and he's capable of making punchy moves that count. Slawek Piskorz is, yeah, he's a pretty formidable competitor, is Piskorz. Quite fierce looking as well. If you were to have a fierce top 3, obviously Chris Danes is always going to be in that, but Slawek Piskorz would also be one of the more fierce looking drivers, helmet off.
Oh, here we go. Alexander's coming in for a pit stop. I think she's sort of on her own at the moment. That challenge from Kassam has faded. Actually, look at that. That's a very good anticipated pit stop. Now taking after some of the more experienced people in this race by stopping short and gambling on that. And that looked to be a very good stop.
Yeah, it was. It's actually an 11-second exact stop, which is great. We'll take that all day long. Yep. It's a kind of stop that keeps you where you were, and that is important. You see, the biggest risk with this is that you cannot take liberties with those lights. You'll be back in the pits, and you'll definitely be bundled down the order. Jessica Alexander's doing great with that, because it would be very easy to try and get all fancy with it and clever, but she's not done this kind of racing before. Pit stop is new to her. The first time she's doing it is now.
Kassam's in the pits, and he's going to come out behind Alexander with a similar kind of gap.
And that's what she'll have been hoping for with her earlier pit stop. So Jessica Alexander's done everything she could have hoped for. More importantly, though, from Kassam's point of view, he's been taken by Jonny Elliott. So Jonny Elliott now sits between, it looks, Jessica Alexander and Robin Kassam. So he's bang in the middle of those two there.
Do we have enough time for Elliott to do something on track against Alexander?
Well, it all depends on what the lap times are like. As we see coming across the line, Jonny Elliott is pretty close. Jessica Alexander is crossing the line now, and Jonny Elliott now. So it all depends on speed. If we look at the actual lap times, Jonny Elliott is lapping a couple of tenths faster generally than Jessica Alexander. So technically, the answer would be yes.
Good. Go on, John.
So Jonny, and he needs points. He's one of those who is actually genuinely looking to make the semi-final.
Second place man, Nowicki.
Yeah, Nowicki pitting from second. Now this is crucial. He needs to stay in front of Marcel Hollink.
He's not
going to lose the place.
Yep.
And to Sturm, maybe. Sturm's going to be alongside him. Gosh, Mariusz Nowicki blocking him out big style. And that's really making a very tight position there for third place. Nowicki versus Sturm and Piskorz as they come through the tight bit. Marcel Hollink will be really pleased with that. He's managed to come out this is second. Challenging Brierley is not up for debate. Brierley's in the pits now. Sean Brierley, leader, no hands on the wheel. He's got 5 seconds in hand should he need it. He doesn't need it, and this looks like a pretty comfortable win from Sean Brierley. Now, it was an almost 11-second stop there by Sean Brierley. He had time in hand. He could have afforded a 14-second stop if he wanted it.
Well, that would have been a very...
Elliott's gone through past Jessica Alexander.
Does it
and
stick?
Alexander's coming back at him, but Johnny's on the inside and blocks her out. So Jonny Elliott takes the Scotswoman, and they're the kind of points Jonny Elliott needed. That moves him up into sixth place. He's trying to tilt to... he's trying to wave at Jessica Alexander. We saw the run with me signal there from Jonny. Jessica not having any of it. She bundles him out of the way, but Jonny Elliott's back through on the inside. Battle Royal. We did see a signal there from Jonny Elliott, but Jessica Alexander, he's signalling again saying, don't fight me, work with me, because Slawek Piskorz is just ahead. But I don't think... Whoa, and Alexander's to the inside. Jonny Elliott's saying, what are you doing? You're just holding us up. Jessica Alexander now is going to come under pressure from... is it Robin Kassam? So that big lunge there, well, it's put Robin Kassam right on her tail. Jonny Elliott is in the clear though. He's not really pleased with Jessica there. To be honest with you, Jessica Alexander has shown really well so far in the tournament, but that was just costly for her, not really necessary. A cleaner pass would have had a better result.
I appreciate the move though. A bit cheeky, Jonny, to get past her in the scrap and then suggest they stop the battle and move forward. And fair play to Alexander for not accepting that at all. I think the move wasn't really on. It was a fair attempt. But what we've seen twice now in this race against Jonny Elliott and also against Piskorz earlier is she's leaving the door open on that turn 3 hairpin. And if you do that, people are going to come through, especially knowing there's a little bit of leeway on that inside barrier.
Yeah, it's a tough one because the hairpin is very tight indeed. And the hairpin you're talking about at the top there is very tight indeed, so you do need a big swing going in there, but anything like a sensible line just opens the door, and it's people are not able to resist, are they? It's an irresistible open door, that one. Meantime, we're looking at Nowicki there in third place, battling against Sturm and Piskorz. Sturm shaking his head about something. Maybe he's had a couple of taps from Piskorz, but, well, it's getting racy behind Nowicki there. Nowicki in the white helmet has got Sturm and Piskorz onto him. 1 minute 22 to go, so really not long. Round into that tight hairpin that we saw, and no passing moves going on there, but it is Nowicki looking over his shoulder there. He's got a face full of Joris Sturm and Slawek Piskorz behind. Through the tight bit, heading round that big long turn to the backstretch. Sean Brierley's got the lead. Marcel Hollink's in second, but there's the battle for third, and Nowicki there, the Polish second in the championship in Poland. He is really having to get defensive. He's got Joris Sturm trying to move up from fourth to third, and Slawek Piskorz is looking pretty racy down there in fifth. So there's less than a minute to go now, and Nowicki has got a lot of pressure, So Nowicki no longer on any kind of racing line. He's blocking the inside all the way against the Dutchman Joris Sturm. So Poland v Holland v Poland, and Nowicki there on the inside, absolutely all the way. Racing lines out the window here. It's about defence. Sturm is trying to attack and trying to defend, and in the background there was Jonny Elliott. The flag is out, and it's been given to Sean Brierley, who wins. Hollink is in second, and here comes Nowicki in third, Sturm fourth, Piskorz fifth. Here comes Jonny Elliott for sixth, and then Jessica Alexander for seventh, and eighth is Robin Kassam, and John Mark-Sisman is a lap down in that ninth place. Here he comes actually, and there's John Mark-Sisman taking the flag as the final finisher there in ninth place. Okay, so what a win there by Sean Brierley. Ended up being a mere 3.3 seconds, so they had actually closed in. That was Marcel Hollink, and in fact Nowicki had closed in as well. So Sean Brierley losing a bit of time near the end, but it didn't matter. He got the race win. There is Sean Brierley at practice pit stop, and just taking every opportunity to practice it. and win there for Sean Brierley, and a very, very well-deserved win. He really played the numbers game on that one. Marcel Hollink, an excellent second place, and Nowicki absorbing all kinds of pressure there to take third ahead of Joris Sturm and the flying Slawek Piskorz. Jonny Elliott on a bit of a recovery mission. With the best will in the world, it would have taken a massive effort by anybody to have had any say in that matter from where Jonny Elliott had found himself on Nowicki, Sturm and Piskorz. So probably the best damage limitation job that Jonny Elliott could have pulled to get sixth place. And obviously a fighting seventh there by Jessica Alexander, and Robin Kassam behind her. Caught right at the end, but wasn't able to make any passing move. And John Mark-Sisman concluding the runners at the back there. So we're going down to the pits, and we'll be with Spanners in the pits for a driver interview or two.
I'm joined by race winner Sean Brierley. A fourth, a second, and now a first. That looks pretty comfortable.
Yeah, it actually was a bit easier than I thought it was going to be. Fortunately, the guys behind me started battling straight away, and I managed to jump Mariusz at the start.
What goes through your head though? Because you've got that lead, and you think, oh, I can only do bad from here.
None of that. I was so cold. I just wanted it over. I couldn't race halfway through. My hands had locked up. I was just trying to get through to the end.
What are you on about? There's a marshal with shorts over there.
I got a tank top on under this. That's it.
So you've got to be good for the semi-finals now. Second, fourth, and a first place.
Yeah, pretty happy with that. One more heat, last heat of the day on a track I feel like I'm quicker at.
Give me a bit of insight. Who do you want to beat? Who in this tournament in the semi-finals, and you think if I'm above them, I've done well?
Everyone.
Everyone. So just go for the win. Yeah. Sean, thank you very much. Congratulations. A very comfortable race win. I think he was surprised by that as well, but certainly earned it with pace. Back up to you, James.